Today I'm going to talk about the requirements of getting Panamanian residency. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and I'm an expat in Colombia. Our mission here is to help expats or soon-to-be expats to start their journey, avoid gringo prices and settle down hassle-free. So if you plan or researching about how to be an expat in Panama, of course one of the most important things is how to obtain a visa in Panama so you can stay long term. In this video I want to talk about the most common types of visas there are for expats, what the requirements are for them, and what changed in the last year about the notorious border hop. So a little disclaimer in the beginning that you know where I'm coming from. I didn't do the Panamanian process or getting a visa in Panama myself. This is just what I found from research over the last couple of years. And we're talking about some locals about their experience getting their visa. Also, the figures you see here can change rapidly. This is Latin America, and figures or requirements, especially for visa applications, they can change without notice. So even though the Panamanian residency process can be quite easy, especially with the most common visa option, the Friendly Nations visa, it's still best to consult a trusted lawyer to really know how you should go about getting your personal visa in Panama. So first of all, how to get into Panama in the first place. You have a 90 days visa, or it's kind of like an official 90 days visa, but there was a presidential executive order that said no, everybody that comes in with a 90-day visa can stay for 180 days. So technically you can stay in Panama for 180 days if you're a normal usual tourist from the US, North America, or from Western Europe. And before going into the whole visa requirement topics, there is one procedure many expats did or maybe still do in these days, which is called a border hop. So especially in Central America, there are a couple of countries that allow that you can hop the border for, you get a tourist visa for 180 days, like here in this example in Panama. And before these 180 days are over, you can go over the border like to Costa Rica, so from Panama to Costa Rica, spend the night there, come back, and the 180 days will renew. And yeah, there are people that did that for 15 and 20 years. So they never got a real residency in Panama, but they had a house there, they lived there, maybe they worked there. And yeah, a lot of people did that. But in 2017 a new law came out which exactly prohibited that. So yeah, and this law is quite new, so that the gray zone of information you get, and probably the gray zone or the information that the Panamanian immigration workers will have too. So what I could research is that if you stay in Panama for more than 5 months, you have to leave the country for more than 30 days. So if you stayed for 5 months, you have to go out for 30 days, and sometimes not even out to Costa Rica, but to your home country. So maybe the US, so you have to go to the US, come back in from the US after 30 days, and maybe prove that you have again a flight ticket back after the next 180 days to the US or to another country. Yeah, so this law is really shaky. Sometimes you get information that if you don't stay if you stay less than 5 months, it's just 3 days, so you have to go out 3 days and come back in 3 days. So that means that you could maybe go out of the country every 3 months, then for 3 days and then come back. So a border hop would be feasible again. But yeah, this is just a really big gray zone with the border hop, and the government really cut down on it. So my suggestion would be, especially in the case of Panama, where a Friendly Nations visa, I will talk about later, is very easy to get, that you really get your residency in Panama and don't just do the border hop, which is quite in the gray zone, especially now since 2017. So before we start with the requirements for how to get a residency and which ones are the most common for expats, here are some information you need before we go further. So one of them is what is a work permit. So if you have residency in Panama, doesn't mean that you can work there necessarily. So when you have residency, you also need to apply for a work permit. So that's because Panama tries to protect their local workers, that not every resident can get a work permit equally. And with this work permit, there are some exclusion or many exclusions of work you can do. So the exclusions for foreigner workers are like lawyer, doctor, engineers, and many other types of work that can be done by a foreigner. I will put them in a link in the description, so you have a more or less complete list of all the exclusions. The most famous non-exclusions are marketing, social media expert, some kind of that kinds of positions are allowed, or foreigners are allowed to work on that kind of positions. So one thing I want to talk about before we go to the visa requirements is what is temporary residency, what is permanent residency, and what is citizenship. So temporary residency is when you obtain a residency type that you have to renew. So in Panama, it's usually every 2 years you need to review a temporary residency. A permanent residency is you have residency and you don't need to renew it anymore. And citizenship is, of course, you get a passport and have more freedoms than if you're just like a permanent or temporary residency. You can obtain citizenship in Panama after 5 years of residency, or after 3 years of obtaining a marriage residency. So if you marry a Panamanian, you can get citizenship after 3 years, and with any other residency, it's after 5 years. And then one exclusion to all the visas I will state later is Italy. So Italy has since 1966 a special agreement with Panama. And if you're an Italian citizen, you can go to Panama without all these other types of visas I will talk about in this video later. Yeah, because of the special agreement, so you can do business in Panama, you can do all kinds of stuff without getting that kind of visa. You just have to get, I think, a work permit, and that's all. So I hope you could bear with me. So we start with the most popular visa that Panama offers, and this is the pensionado visa. The pensionado visa is especially for retirees that get a pension, and no matter if you're a single person or if you're a couple, the requirements are that you have a monthly income of $1,000 from a lifetime pension. And it doesn't matter if you did not yet reach retirement age. The age restriction is just 18 years old. So if you get a pension before, like a social security or that, that's no problem. You can apply for the pensionado visa in Panama. And with the pensionado visa, you have some benefits in Panama as well. So these are like tax exemptions for the first $10,000 of imports you bring, like this would be furniture and all that kind of stuff. Or I think it's every 2 years you can import a car tax-free, and many other discounts you will have. I will link them in the description down below, so you have a complete list of the benefits you get as a retiree. So one of the probably most famous residency programs in Latin America or all over the world is the Friendly Nations Visa in Panama. It is especially famous because it's one of the easiest permanent residency programs in the world to get. And the special thing is that the Friendly Nations visa grants 50 countries that Panama says they are friendly nations a very easy residency to obtain. The only thing you have to do is put $5,000 in a Panamanian bank account and $2,000 for each dependent. So dependent could be a spouse or a kid of you. And the other requirement you have to have is economic ties. So this can be obtained in 3 ways. This could be that you buy an existing or open a new Panamanian company, you obtain work in Panama, or you invest in real estate, and there isn't a fixed amount on how much you have to invest in real estate, but it's usually $10,000 to $15,000. Otherwise, it could get hard that the immigration officers would let your application through. Yes, as I said, this is a permanent residency instantly, so you don't have to renew the Friendly Nations visa no more. And another important thing is that it doesn't grant you a work permit. So just because you have the Friendly Nations visa, you cannot work legally yet in Panama. So you need to obtain a work permit even with your own company. So yeah, a lot of people go to Panama to get residency. They go there with the Friendly Nations visa, open a company. What they will do with that company is up to them. Especially a lot of freelancers will do that. So they have a normal LLC or something like that. They work as a freelancer and they get a residency in Panama. Then another type of visa is the employment visa. So this is if you have employment in Panama. But this really only comes if you have like an international company and they have a subsidiary in Panama. So they will know about the visa process there, because it's not so easy to obtain that from what I heard. So you have to prove, like it's kind of like in the US, you have to prove that you're the only one in the country that can do this work. So this is all, again, a measure of the Panamanian government to cut down on foreign workers that would steal the jobs from Panamanian locals. So and one might ask, what is the difference between getting an employment visa and getting the friendly nations visa with the economic ties employment? So as you might remember, you have 3 ways to get an economic ties to get the friendly nations visa, and one of them is employment. And as I've read, that obtaining a work permit with the friendly nations visa is way harder to get than an employment visa by itself. So this is really a thing you have to talk with your immigration lawyer, so which one is better in your specific case. Then other popular visas are investment visas. There are 3 types of investment visa. One thing is reforestation investment, another thing is investment in a Panamanian company, and the third thing is an agriculture investment. So the reforestation investment is that you invest in a company which is recognized by the Panamanian government as a teak or managoni plantation, and you have to invest $80,000 to obtain that kind of visa, and $2,000 for each dependent. And this will grant you instant permanent residency in Panama. And the other thing is a business investment, so you have to invest in a Panamanian business. This will be $160,000 and $2,000 for each dependent. And again, this will grant you permanent residency instantly. And then the agriculture investment is that you can invest in an agriculture company in Panama, and this will not grant you permanent residency from the start. So this visa you can only obtain for a maximum of 6 years, and so this will be 2 years where you have to renew it for 3 times the maximum, so 6 years in total. And you have to invest $60,000 and $2,000 again for each dependent. So so I think there are more attractive visa options out there than the agriculture investment. So the last visa I want to talk about is the marriage visa. So of course, if you marry a Panamanian citizen, you get permanent residency instantly. And as I've said, after 3 years, you can apply for citizenship in Panama with this visa. And what are the costs of getting these types of visas? So I've read many articles, and Panama, because there are a lot of expats already there, there are a lot of gringo prices around. So I've read everything from $3,000 to getting a visa to $7,000 or $8,000 to getting a visa with a trusted lawyer. So unfortunately, I can't name you a contact because, as I said, I did not do the visa process by myself. But for any other expat question, we would love to help you out. Just leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like that and you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.